Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Miracles with Mary. If you are new to my channel, I talk about manifesting, mindset, miracles, and now I'm going to be talking more about numerology. Also, feel free to give me a like for this video because it's going to be really interesting. So, as you can already see in my thumbnail, I'm going to be talking about two life paths. And you're going to see 6 people on there. I have Barack Obama, Wayne Dyer, Conor McGregor, Mariah Carey, Lil Wayne, and Madonna. So 2 life paths are known as the lovers, mediators, peacemakers. I was at first in disbelief that Conor McGregor, who does MMA or martial arts and is a UFC champion, is a peacemaker. So I had to calculate his birthday about 5 times. I'll usually just I'll calculate 2 at most to make sure. But as I dived into life path 2, it makes sense that he's a 2 life path. So I'll make a separate video for him because he's very inspiring. So for parts of this video, I'm going to be talking about the symbolism of 2, the traits of a 2, purpose, gifts, challenges, how they can develop, and some careers or professions that fit a 2. So first we're going to talk about symbolism. For the 1, my first video of life path, the 1 represents the sun and 2 represents the moon. So it's more of a shadow side. When I think of a 2, I think of what it symbolizes, like the mother, the feminine, or the masculine and the feminine union, partnership, love, duality, yin-yang, separation or opposition, day or night, harmony, patience, faith, and balance. When I look, there's not much in the Bible that talks about the symbolism of 2, but there's a few. So I found that the 2 represents Eve, so like a partnership, the second human that was created. I'm going to talk about like different, I'm not talking about like one belief of a religion. I'm just giving symbolism. And also in the Bible, 2 represents union and union between heaven and earth. And then in astrology, 2 represents the Taurus and Gemini. For Taurus, they are ambitious. It doesn't really, 2 isn't necessarily ambitious. It's ruled by Venus, which is a planet of love, pleasure, and luxury. And 2 also represents Gemini in astrology because it's like 2 twins. And then for tarot, the High Priestess represents the 2nd card, which symbolizes the divine feminine, using intuition, wisdom, good judgment, and mystery. It represents the illusion, or about to like lift. And as an analogy, I'm using 2 representing like your hands. So with a 2 life path, they are here to learn balance. So sometimes they can flow from an extreme, from giving and receiving, from feeling or thinking, from yes or no, like which, it's kind of like a tug of war. And then universally, 2 means love, the divine feminine, the soul, emotion, balance, partnership, polarity, and connection. And then for the traits of a 2 life path, they are sensitive, intuitive, and sometimes so intuitive that they'll have like psychic powers or in tune with psychic powers. And they're also very easygoing. They're team players. They're very happy going along with the crowd. They're also very patient and supportive and dedicated. So they do really well in roles where they're supporting the leader. They're also very reliable and peacemaking, compassionate, diplomatic, artistic as well, because they're very sensitive with their hands. So they do well with art, writing, or healing. They're also very calm and gracious and detail oriented, and also persuasive because they're the life path of emotion, using emotion to persuade. For the purpose of a 2 life path, they are here to learn balance through love, connection, and mutual support. They are known as, like I said in the beginning, lovers, peacemakers, mediators, also diplomats. And they're here to love and be loved in return. The primary resource of a 2 is through feeling. So they must feel in order to hear their intuitive voice. And when they are in touch with their true feelings, then you can see them radiate a lot, and it really, really adds to their personal happiness. They also very much value working with others. So they're, in their nature or attitude, they're very cooperative, and they're happy to work in large groups or organizations. I mentioned that they're very diplomatic, so they do well in government. They can be leaders. They can be very confident working alone, but if they were to lead, they would be here to serve a larger cause. Like, the larger cause would lead them. And also, if they're working alone, and they would, if they're burdened with stress, it's going to bring up insecurities, because they need somebody to lean on. And also, they're kind of like a slower, more patient, more gentle energy as well. So it's nice to always have somebody by your side to lean on. They, as an example, their energy, they teach others to relate to one another through meaningful connections, communication, and they're very, very fulfilled supporting others. So a 2's message to the world is that human civilization is not created from isolated individuals. It's about humans working together. So that's the purpose of a 2. And then I'm going to move on to the gifts of a 2 life path. Since they're very intuitive and sensitive, they do well connecting with others. And they have a special role that complements the other person or provides very intuitive and loyal support. They have an ability to put, I don't know if it's like putting ego aside or connecting, merging their ego with another person's to work cooperatively with them. And they can easily sense other people's needs, motivations, maybe intentions. So they would do well to help people succeed. I've also mentioned that they've had sensitive hands. So I see a lot of 2's doing healing work, and it's very inspiring. So with that all said, their best expression is to move people on an emotional level, and they have a potential to inspire humanity through persuasion, and overall they desire to bring equality and peace to this planet. And then for the challenge of a 2 life path, their true nature is of balance and connection. So early in life, it's like they learn balance first through juggling 2 extremes, like a tug of war. And one challenge is dependency. So that's from if they're always merging their ego or identity under another person to conform. They're always putting other people's needs and wants before them, and just to please others. And they might end up doing things that other people expect them to do, which leads to loss of self. And if they are feeling pushed or stepped on as like a doormat, then eventually they it's going to build up all that emotion and resentment, and it could eventually lead them to snapping or exploding, which is it's opposite of their nature. And also like feeling responsible for other people's success or well-being. And then they would end up doing everything for everyone, and sometimes it feels like they can give an inch to a person and that person will take a mile from them. So twos must choose their friends wisely because they do a lot for others. If a two does not feel appreciated enough, it'll lead to resentment, to being stubborn, to emotionally shutting down and withdrawing. So that's another extreme, giving support and emotion versus like total emotional shutdown and withdrawal. So that's another like tug of war. And so that could lead to larger sacrifices, and it drains the energy, which creates more imbalance, and that from that they develop disease with so much energy drained. And a lot, that's what disease is, imbalance of energy. And if, let's see, also like they are like pendulating between intuition and emotion versus like the logic and the rational mind. If they are not in control of their emotion, that leads to being hypersensitive, paranoia, being fearful, and also that their persuasive powers can turn into manipulation if they think that something is going too slow. And also they might send other people on guilt trips if they don't feel appreciated enough, which that leads to conflict, which is again opposite of their true nature. And if they rely on their rational mind too much, that leads to being super obsessed with meaningless details, and even paranoia. So now we're going to move on to the development of a 2 life path, my peacemakers. So working with like developing your mental abilities and intuitive abilities, the 2s learn emotional control as they mature with life experiences and with personal development. So like they need to know that they cannot live through another person. When they do their own individual development, that leads to personal happiness and self-confidence. And that's where a lot of self-esteem comes from as well. It's not from depending on others. And if they're still going through extremes, it means there's internal conflict, sometimes feeling like there's 2 people inside you. And I remember the theme is 2. So they can learn how to create balance in art, in what they create, even in their clothes, the way they look. So that's going to help them with balance. And also let's see. So yeah, that with the extremes that you see, it's an extreme inside, so they have to resolve that imbalance inside first. So they learn how to use when to use the rational mind and intuition to deal with things such as how much should I give, when should I step back. And another thing, like it's okay to step back, it's okay to say no. It's self-love to say no, and the more you say no, it gives you more power to saying yes, and you don't have to feel guilty for stepping back. And that actually helps you create healthy boundaries. So you can say something like, I can't always help you with everything. I need to take care of my own needs. Just because twos come across, they tend to attract people who take advantage of them and also strengthen that belief as well because of such a giving nature. So, and also one last thing for developing is doing activities that help you flow or channel your energy. With Conor McGregor as an example, he uses martial arts. A lot of it is flow, and he's balancing between his rational mind when he's in the ring, between his rational mind and his intuition. And I watched an interview with him. He said, I just go with the feeling. So as you personally develop, as you mature, you have more control over your emotion. And so you can do activities like yoga, tai chi, martial arts, and meditation. And then I have an affirmation for 2 life paths, and it is, I am a channel for peace and harmony. Love surrounds me endlessly. I am a channel for peace and harmony. Love surrounds me endlessly. I have very few examples of famous people who are 2 life paths besides the 6 people in the thumbnail. 2 is like the rarest life path. I also have Rosa Parks, Peacemaker, Bob Proctor, Law of Attraction teacher, who's also on The Secret. We have Vera Wang, fashion designer, very successful, Jay Leno, and Jared Leto. So that is all for the 2 life path. If you have any more questions on your own numbers, your own life path, feel free to write me a comment, send me an email, or book a call with me. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Until next time, bye, beautiful souls.